Hello everybody, this is Gregory with How I Lost Over 100 Pounds and I've kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitation in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to talk about how you shouldn't label food as being good or bad. Now before I begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, which has 600 articles and recipes. Check out my 2 books, and lastly, if you appreciate my content, there's a link for PayPal. Now I'm recording this on my birthday. My birthday is not the day this is coming out, by the way. I like to protect some anonymity. But I thought it'd be a good time to do a video on labeling foods good or bad. And you see parents doing this quite a bit with kids. Oh, don't eat, that's bad. Cake is bad. Gummies are bad. Eat kale. Kale is good. And I think they have good intentions when they do this. But you have to be very careful because you're treading on a very quicksandy kind of surface. Because when we start defining foods as good or bad, they eventually have connotations that connect it to shame if you eat one of these things, or positive reinforcement if you eat one of the good things. In my mentality is there's no such thing as good food or bad food. There should be foods that we eat more often than others. We don't want to be eating white cake 3 times a day. But there is a time for white cake. All on my birthday. You think on my birthday I'm not going to eat cake? Or whatever my kids, some gross dessert they decide to fix because they're like 7 years old? Of course I'm going to eat it. But even if it wasn't some gross thing my 7-year-olds were going to make, I'm gonna have my favorite food, which is typically Indian or Middle Eastern. I'll have a nice thing of it. And I'll probably have some sort of dessert. I typically like cold desserts like cream pies, tiramisu, one of those things. And I'm gonna savor. Now, do I eat these things often? No. There were a couple days ago, I think it was New Year's, where I was with a buddy and we're like, hey, we should go get donuts. I have a local brand here called Shipley's. They make these, you know how Krispy Kreme does the perfectly round, like OCD donuts? I don't like those. Shipley's, they're all like crinkled and just so tasty and good, but they don't look that pretty. But then I was like, it had been 2 years since I've had donuts. And it's not because I'm an orthorexic, like, oh my God, they're all trans fat, double fried, blah, 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 pure sugar, fried sugar. Just like, do I really need these donuts in my life? Not really. Not really. There's a lot of things in our life that we think we need that we really don't. Now, this has nothing to do with food, but I used to do fantasy football for 20 years. I was a commissioner for my work league and my friends league. We started back in 2001. And then about 4 years ago, I just I don't like football. I don't like keeping up with all of it. And at the time I thought, oh, this is going to be hard. And I quit, and don't miss it. Don't miss it. So, going back to food, when we're telling kids who are 7, don't eat these trolley gummies, they're bad. Well, when you tell them that, whenever they eat some junk food, then they think they're bad. Now, again, as adults, it's different because you're not bad. But again, kids will have these connections to food. So later on in their life, when they're eating certain foods, oh, I'm bad because I'm having a muffin. You're not bad because you're eating a muffin. You can eat a muffin. I have an episode here on watch out for the puritanical purists. And essentially in that episode, it's like, don't listen to anyone who says, if you want to lose weight, more importantly, keep it off forever, you must not ever eat blank for the rest of your life. Don't listen to these morons. Now, if you have an autoimmune problem like celiac disease, yeah, you probably shouldn't be eating anything with wheat or gluten in it because it could lead to medical problems. But if you don't have these sensitivities and these autoimmune problems, you can eat whatever you want. Just know, hey, I should eat these sparingly. Hey, I should eat these all the time. I have a playlist, 20 kitchen items that I use all the time for my weight maintenance. I'm eating dark chocolate at least 5 times a week. I'm having yogurt bowls 3 times a week, avocado 3 times a week at least. So you want to veer toward foods that are nutrient dense and stay away from foods that are high in calories and no nutrition, which is mostly desserts, for example, or sodas for sure. But even then, if you want to have a soda here and there, have a soda. Just understand this is not something that you want to have it continue to be like a pattern. Because you see this, we talked about changing your paradigm. Once you change your paradigm toward eating or toward working out, you want to stick to it. Once you go to the like, oh, I work out every day, and like, oh, I haven't worked out in a week. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, I don't need to go, right? We're all about building positive habits. And you want to build positive habits, but then also stay away from negative habits. So if you feel like if you're going to start eating donuts, if you have donuts one time, like it's going to open this donut avalanche and you're going to want them all the time, then stay away from donuts. You know yourself better than I do. But if you don't have this kind of predilection toward, I guess you could call it, I would say not binge eating, but going on a bender, you're normal and then you go on a bender of donuts. But if you're like regular, normal, have a donut here and there, have a cake on your birthday, have a glass of wine, have a beer, eat Cheetos once in a while. It's okay. Because the number one key for weight maintenance is not depriving yourself of something for the rest of your life, because nobody can really adhere to that. Like, I'm never going to eat carbs ever again in my life. Do you really think that's sustainable? Or if you're a vegetarian, I'm never going to have meat for 50 years. That's not sustainable. If you want to have a gluten-free diet, I'm never going to have bread or pasta, not to mention desserts forever. I mean, it's not sustainable. Either way, don't label food as good or bad. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.